Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Hardcore Challenge Live, the official webcast of the Hardcore Challenge, the pinnacle of fantasy football competition. So, we have a interesting week coming up. So let's take a look here. An interesting week coming up this week in the Hardcore Challenge. As you're looking at the AFC, probably the premier matchup is Knox Vegas Anarchy, who's coming back off of the loss to Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in the game of the week. They're still 3-1, chasing the defending champ. Stinky Pinky is one of the three undefeated, although they are carrying a tie, unlike the other two that are 4-0. They are 3-0-1, so they do have a blemish upon their record. So that was one I was looking at for possible game of the week this week. Zeke and Destroy and Big Dog, both sitting at 0-4. They are really on life support early, and if they go to 0-5, they're looking at one loss from absolutely being done. And 0-5 start could be enough to finish them off anyway. So those two are definitely the ones to watch, and they have interesting matchups themselves, as Zeke and Destroy is facing Bison Broncos, who's dropped 2 in a row, but still tied for first in the Elite East. As Big Dog is taking on Tama Tears, who is sitting at 3-1 and won 3 in a row. So both of those teams do not have easy matchups this week. So they're staring 0-5 in the face. They're both of the Cowboys fans, ironically. Now, over in the NFC, we also have some interesting matchups. We also have one other team in the league who's 0-4, and that is the Renegade Misfits. The Renegade Misfits, who were a playoff team last season, they're just, I don't know. They just don't seem to be getting it done. Travis has had a rough go of it. They are last in the league, not only in their conference, but in the entire league. So Travis has been out to a rough start, and don't know what's up. Don't know what's up with that. But Travis has had a rough start thus far. So, Joey's Tank Top, the other 4-0 team, one of the 3 undefeated. They are playing Vandalay Industries, who's 2-2 and just coming off a loss. Although they are the number 1 team in the NFC, I just can't see them in the game of the week with that competition. However, looking at another game in the NFC, the 3-1 Skull Crushers facing off against the 3-1, also division leading, Mo Betta Butta. We have an old owner against a new owner. Gary, owner of Skull Crushers, has been in the league since 2013. He has never made the playoffs. He has had some pretty good teams. He's had injury issues. He started out good in a couple seasons and just flanked out. But he's always gamed all the way to the end. So I know he's playing hard. He just came off a big win in the last game of the week, taking down the Pack Attack is back, previously undefeated. Posted the second highest score in the history of the league, 238 points. Impressive game, and now Mo Betta Butta is looking that right in the eye. Skull Crushers has outscored them on the season by almost 120 points. So, almost as much as some other teams have scored in a single game, Skull Crusher has put more points up than Mo Betta Butta. But in a little weaker division, scoring-wise, as the Wild West does not seem to have all of the firepower. So, interesting. So your game of the week, let's take a quick look at the game of the week, the matchups. Skull Crushers comes in with a lineup of Russell Wilson, Johnson, the running back for Cleveland, Ezekiel Elliott for Dallas, Parker, wide receiver for Miami, and Williams, wide receiver for the Chargers at their top skill positions. Mo Better Butter comes in with Ben Roethlisberger, Jacquizz Rodgers, Howard, the running back for the Bears, Jordy Nelson for the Pack, and wide receiver Richardson for the Seahawks. I don't see Richardson having a big game. I see him as a weakness at the wide receiver position for Mo Better Butter. Although I see Jordy probably having a good game since they're going to be at Dallas. I expect to see fireworks. Jacquizz Rodgers. That's an interesting one. NFL.com has him projected very, very low, although I hold not a lot of credence in their projections. So that means really jack to me. But interestingly enough, he plays tomorrow night. So we're gonna know tomorrow night where Mo Better Butter stands. Because if Jacquizz Rodgers comes out and has a solid game, he's the weak link of his key players. If he comes out and has a big game, he may be able to keep pace. The problem is, Duke Johnson is playing the Jets at home. That's not good. He racked up points last week. He's going to rack them up again because he's got favorable competition again. Ezekiel Elliott against the Packers at home. They're going to lean on him and they're going to run him. So he's got two big hitters right there. And Russell Wilson, man, at the Rams. That's going to be a track meet most likely. So Roethlisberger at Jacksonville is favorable though. For Mo Better Butter, I think that's a favorable matchup. At home, Jacksonville coming to Pittsburgh. That's a favorable matchup. I could see him putting up some points. We'll come back to that. Tight end position. You've got Ertz for Philadelphia. Mo Better Butter's got Witten for Dallas. Interesting. Both of those, I kind of call that a wash, but I almost lean a little towards Ertz. Ertz at home against Arizona over Witten at home against Green Bay. Now, at the flex, you've got Rawls for Skull Crushers against Beasley for Mo Better Butter. Oh, this one's a tough one too. That's a tough one to call. At the kickers, you've got a wash because it's kickers. You've got the Dolphins defense for Skull Crushers at home against Tennessee. The Jaguars on the road at Pitt for Mo Better Butter. You've got the individual defensive positions for Skull Crushers. Campbell, defensive lineman for the Jags. They've also got the Jaguars linebacker Smith. Mathau, defensive back for Arizona, and Mosley, linebacker at the flex for Baltimore. Mo Better Butter's got Lawrence, Brown at the linebacker position, Jones at the defensive back position, and currently he's carrying a flex of a defensive back, Tandy, for the Bucks, who plays tomorrow night, who's doubtful. So, a little word to the wise. I would go pick somebody up, Mo. Because you don't want to roll that, man. You can put anybody in the flex, and there's all kinds of talent to be picked up at an individual defensive position. I would, unless you got some hot inside info, that's a gamble I wouldn't be willing to make. NFL.com predicts Skull Crushers to win. they're not giving them the cred that they got from last week. Last week they put up 238 points. I find that hard to overlook. That's hard to overlook. 238 points is a big freaking number. The favorable running back matchups, I think Duke Johnson could be huge this week against the Jets. I got a feeling that's a high-scoring affair. I'm counting on it myself because I'm starting McCown. Because we all know what happened. So, you got to rub it in. But I'm going to go with Skull Crushers. I think Skull Crushers wins the game of the week over Mo Better Butter. I'm sorry, Mo, fellow Raider brother, but I have to go against you. I just don't think your team has the firepower this particular week. I'm sorry. I apologize. But I picked wrong last week because Corey failed me miserably. I got to make sure I pick right this week. So I've looked at the teams, the matchups, and I just think his favorable running back matchups. But I think if Jacquizz Rodgers has a big game tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football against New England, he stands a chance. But I'm going with Skull Crushers. Corey, you let me down. Corey, let me down. You did this to me last year. You realize last year I do believe you broke my undefeated Game of the Week streak as well. So, I hope next time you try a little harder when I put you in the spotlight. So it is Skull Crushers. Owner Gary coming off his Game of the Week win, 238 point, second highest score in league history, sitting at 3-1, 2-game winning streak, sitting at the top, number 2 in the power rankings of the Great White North in the NFC, facing off against Mo Better Butter. Owner Mo, also 3-1. They were undefeated until last week, when they dropped their first loss of the season. That dropped them to 3rd on the power rankings in the NFC. So you got number 2 against number 3 in the NFC right now. Both leading their division. Both 3-1. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your game of the week. And it takes place in the NFC once again. So, there you have it. We are ready for week 5. It looks like I have an easy matchup, but there is no easy matchup in the Hardcore Challenge because I should have won last week, and look what happened. So, I'm 2-2. There's a lot of you guys that are like me. There's some 1-3s that you're on shaky ground. If you're 0-4, it's must-win territory for you. You need to win this game. You can't go 0-5, or you're done. We have one less regular season game this season. We've only got 13. Due to the extended playoffs with adding the conference. So, you're already on thin ice at 0-4. This is must-win. 1-3, you're in trouble. I don't want to lose this week and drop below 500. I got to stay in the hunt. I know everybody else does too. So, week 5. This is a big week. By next week, we're really going to see who's in trouble and who even has a chance to make the playoffs this season. Are you ready for the challenge? Good luck. Game on.